At Team Toyota, they've been selling and servicing new and used Toyotas in your community for over 50 years, and you can reserve your next new Toyota with them today. You'll get a realistic timeline, and even in this crazy market, they won't charge you over MSRP. Or don't wait at all. With over 75 certified Toyotas, including a bunch of RAV4 and Highlanders, you can drive one home today. And you can always trust them to maintain your current vehicle. Their service and collision centers are high-tech, comfortable, and will save you time and money. Team Toyota can help you go anywhere you want, but they'll always be your hometown team. Just visit teamtoyota.net and choose from 3 locations in Langhorne, Glen Mills, or Princeton.
Hello and welcome to the Phillies Talk podcast presented by Team Toyota. I'm Corey Seidman. He's Jim Salisbury. It's a Friday morning as we sit down and record this, and the Phillies have lost 3 games in a row, dropping Thursday night's contest 4-3 to the Marlins. It was their first road game of 2022. Phils went down to Miami. They faced a tough customer in Sandy Alcantara, and the Bats couldn't wake up just yet. And Jim, that's kind of been the theme over this first week, is that since opening day, the Phillies offense has been few and far between. They had that big 8th inning on Monday with 5 runs, and they tacked on a couple runs late in Wednesday's loss. But other than that, it's been lukewarm for the Phillies offense.
Yeah, slow getting going. Schwarber led off that game with a double, but he hasn't done much in between since his hot start. Good to see Harper coming around the last 2 games. Castellanos has been fairly consistent, getting hits, but the bottom of the order has been a big drop off for this team. I mean, Wednesday night, the Marlins score 4 runs. With this offense, you think most of the time 4 runs, you can win that ball game, but they're outscored 4-3. And like you said, we've lost 3 in a row, and they're 6-12 in Miami since the start of 2020. The Marlins continue to give the Phillies fits. I thought last night was going to be a different kind of night because they come out of the gate with that Schwarber double. Real Muto who had a big night on base. Swung it really well. He gets a single, and Harper RBI sacrifice fly. But then Alcantara, they didn't get any knockout blow there, and he doesn't give up another run until the 7th. And Gibson has a rough time in the middle innings, and the offense just too little, too late to pull them out of it. So it's a 4-game series, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Now they need to try to think of this as almost like a 3-game series the rest of the way, and go out and win it. Try to take 2 out of 3 over the weekend, and at least ensure yourself a split. But probably not the start anybody envisioned at 3-4. But I think we all have been around long enough not to read too much, or at least panic after 7 games.
Right. I mean, to put it in perspective, the Phillies, as cold as they've seemed offensively, you realize that they rank in the top 10 in baseball in batting average, on base percentage, and slugging. That's kind of tells you how much the league as a whole is struggling right now offensively. The league-wide OPS is actually 48 points lower so far this season than it was last year. And we see this every April, where the pitchers are ahead of the hitters, the weather's cold, the ball isn't traveling as far as it does perhaps in the midsummer. So it's going to correct for the Phillies. It's going to correct for teams all around baseball. Kyle Gibson, Jim, on Thursday night, he started well. And it was a continuation of what we saw in his first start, where he was dominant against the Oakland A's. And then in the middle innings, things kind of unraveled. And you wrote at NBCSportsPhiladelphia.com about how there were 2 moments, 2 near misses for Gibson that really changed the course of his outing.
No question. He comes out and he retires, I think, 9 out of the first 10 on Thursday night here in Miami. And that was just a continuation of what he did in that first start, where he only allowed 2 hits over 7 walk-free innings. So his first 10 innings of the season were just masterful. And then, game of inches. It's like a cliche in all sports. But it's so true. An inch here or an inch there can make such such a difference in a ball game and in a season. In that fourth inning, Gibson gives up a one-out home run to Garrett Cooper. Looked like a breaking ball. It kind of hung over the plate. Okay. And then the next batter is Jesus Sanchez, who's a hell of a hitter. He triples to left center, more center than left center. And Matt Vierling, I will say this, he did a heck of a job running down that ball. I mean, he was a long way from that ball, and it was going to be a tough catch regardless, but it looked like he almost had a chance of making it, and he just missed it. And that falls for a triple. And the inning kind of just spirals out of control from there for Gibson. 37 pitches. Joey Wendell, as he is prone to doing, dumps a double down the left field line with 2 outs, and that makes it a 2-run double, makes it a 3-1 game. But if Verling somehow can make that catch, Kyle Gibson is probably out of the inning because the next batter strikes out. Catch would have been a second out. Aguiar would have struck out for the third out if we assume that everything would have fell into line after that. But it just struck me as a game of inches. That's a big outfield. Verling ran it down. And like I said, just missed it. Talked about it. I talked about it with him after the game, and he said, he's learning the ballparks, and he thought he had another step there. And if he, looking back at it, and if he takes that extra step, he probably makes that catch. So learning experience for him, learning the outfields, learning that, he's got to, run through the ball. I'm certainly not blaming anything on him because it would have been a really, really tough catch. And Gibson certainly didn't blame anything on him because he said he made a mistake over the plate. And he's never going to look at the results favorably when he throws a pitch like that. But it just kind of illustrates what a game of inches it is. That you put that in your back pocket, you might save your pitcher 2 runs. And then the next inning, Gibson thinks he's out of the 5th inning on a pitch like right on the black to Cooper, 2-2 pitch. He thinks he's got him struck out, starts walking off the mound. The home plate umpire, Alan Porter, says ball 3, so it's 3-2. Gibson, who's this mild-mannered guy, punches his glove in frustration and screams into his glove. A rare show of anger for a mild-mannered guy. Ends up walking Cooper there, and Sanchez again, base hit, brings home a run, makes it 4-1, and the Phillies can never, get over that deficit, that 3-run deficit. So that run was huge. After the game, Gibson looked at the replay and said the pitch missed by an inch, and he said he actually apologized to the umpire for his reactions, but it just goes to show you an inch here, an inch there. Maybe they're winning that game, and they didn't lose 3 in a row, and you get a series off on a good foot in Miami where you've had problems. So it's one of the things that makes the game great is since the game was founded well over 100 years ago, it's always been a game of inches. No matter how much it changes, there are certain things that remain the same. A pitch just off the black can cost you. A pitch that gets too much of the middle of the plate can cost you, and a defensive play that, granted would have been a very, very tough play. But those are the type of plays that championship teams make, and they break the other team's back. So a game of inches, Corey.
I want to talk about third base because, it was a topic coming into the season, and here we are 7 games in. And the way the playing time has shaken out has been pretty interesting. It's been Johan Camargo for 3 starts, Alec Bowman for 2 starts, Bryson Stott for 2 starts at third base. Johan Camargo is the veteran of the group, and it's easy to see why a manager like Joe Girardi would want to rely on him. I mean, he's looked good at the plate. He's looked good at the field. He has versatility. He's a switch hitter. But Alec Bowman, to this point in the season, 7 games in, he has only 10 plate appearances. And, if we said a week ago, Alec Bowman would have 10 plate appearances through the Phillies' first week of the season, their first 7 games, a lot of people would probably think, hey, that's not enough playing time for Alec Bowman. So I'm just curious what you thought of how this third base rotation is shaken out. And is this lack of playing time for Bowman, I mean, is it sustainable? Is it feasible?
I don't think it's sustainable, feasible, or wise. That said, he's really swinging it. At 10 plate appearances, I think he's reached base in 9 of them. had another pinch hit base hit last night. Problem is, this team already has enough DHs. The cup runneth over in DHs. The last thing you need is another one. Now, I don't know if he's the first baseman down the road, and he very well might be. But right now, early season 2022, he's a developing player who needs time on the field. Regular 4 or 5 at bats a night, regular time in the playing field, wherever that is. And I think at some point they're going to be faced with that decision here in the next few weeks. But for now, they seem content to be riding his bat off the bench. I wonder if he gets the start against the left-hander on Saturday, Trevor Rogers. I wonder if he does. I'm very curious to see if that happens. It's clear. Managers are all about trust, and you don't have to listen to what they're saying. You can see it in their actions, and they want to be able to trust that the 9 they put on the field can catch the ball, because defense will break your back. Poor defense. We saw it last night, and again, I want to go back. I don't think that was a poor defensive play in center field. It just would have been a backbreaker on the other team if you could have made it. But obviously, Bowman had that tough night at third base. He had a tough season at third base last year. Joe Girardi's actions are of a manager that just doesn't trust he can make the plays. So Camargo has seen time at third base, and from everything I've seen, he's their best defensive third baseman. I mean, what a rocket of an arm he has. Just effortless firing it across the diamond. No hesitation. No trepidation throwing that ball. He fires it across there. I think Stott is going to shape up as probably getting the most reps there. But right now they're bouncing him around. Segura needed a day yesterday after getting hit by a pitch and jamming his shoulder. So Stott was at second base. That's why Camargo was at third. In a perfect world, I think Stott emerges as your third baseman, and Camargo can play, a day at third, a day at second, a day at short, give guys a blow. And then what happens with Alec Bowman? I don't know. All I can tell you is if he gets to start either Friday night because he's swinging a hot bat and they want to put him back on the horse again, or if he gets to start Saturday against a lefty, I mean, he needs to get 5 balls hit to him quick and make them all, because that's how you start winning back confidence of your skipper. Otherwise, he's going to need regular playing time because he's 25. He's not a 34-year-old reserve. He's 25. He has value, and you need to develop the ball player. So a bit of a quandary, and I think we're a little bit more focused on it than we might be if they have won 4 in a row instead of losing 3 in a row. But that's where they are. It's all a little bit more palatable. It's not as ugly and difficult to swallow as it could be if he wasn't hitting. At least half of his game is there.
You mentioned Gene Segura was out on Thursday. Segura was kind of a scary situation Wednesday afternoon. He was hit on the wrist area, the left wrist / forearm area, by Mets reliever Sean Reed-Foley. It was a 96-mile-per-hour fastball. Segura tried to stay in the game, but the hand went numb and he left the game. He said Wednesday afterward that he was feeling a little bit better, that the feeling had come back, but that, he was day to day. Was there any update on Segura Thursday? Do you think that he could be in the lineup at least once or twice in this series?
I don't know. I did not see Segura. There was a time covering baseball when you would see a guy coming off a little injury the day before, because the clubhouses was smaller. There was a little trainer's room off the clubhouse. Now in these modern new stadiums, the clubhouse is a clubhouse structure. It's 8 or 10 rooms, and the training room is way in back, and you might never see a player because he's getting 3 or 4 hours of treatment and he doesn't pop his head into the clubhouse. So I didn't see Segura on Thursday. Joe said he was getting treatment. Joe Girardi said he was day to day. So when you say he's day to day, I guess there's a chance he could play in this series. I guess there's a chance he's out there Friday night. But who knows? It might be another day or two because he jammed his shoulder diving as well. So something to watch. We'll know in a few hours if he misses another day. Maybe it's a little more serious. Odubel Herrera, who is not a second baseman, was once upon a time in the minor leagues, but Odubel Herrera is playing games over in Clearwater. It wouldn't surprise me if they brought him to Denver and maybe could activate him sometime early next week. It wouldn't surprise me either way. But yeah, Segura's something to watch. And if he needs another day here on Friday night, and you have to put Stott back over there at second base, maybe Camargo, that be all of a sudden third base is an area you need to watch again. Is it Camargo? Is it Bohm? Does Camargo go to second and Stott go to third? We'll see. All that is in flux. So not sure how Gene Segura is, but the manager says he's day-to-day, and right now that's all we got.
So Bryce Harper, the last two games, Jim, it looks like he's kind of finding his stroke. On Wednesday, he homered for the first time. He narrowly missed a homer earlier in that game. He also walked twice. Then on Thursday, he crushed a sac fly in the first inning, a sharp line out, and then later in the game added a 2-run double. So looks like Harper's kind of getting rolling. Kyle Schwarber, despite getting on base in the first inning on Thursday, is still scuffling. He's 3 for 27 on the season, hitting 111. He struck out 10 times. The on-base percentage is pretty low. He's a veteran, though, and Joe Girardi referenced the fact that Schwarber started slowly last year as well, and we all saw how that ended up with his power binge over the final 2-3 months of the season. Do you think that the Phillies are considering a change to the leadoff spot until Schwarber gets going?
I actually asked Joe about that before the game on Thursday, and I wasn't insinuating that they should make a long-term change. I wasn't insinuating that they should make a change. I just know managers, when they see a guy pressing, occasionally would drop him for a night or two, quote unquote, take some pressure off. I was wondering if he was considering that, because I still see the guy as, probably their main leadoff guy, but sometimes a little change of scenery gets you going a little bit. Joe said no, he wasn't considering that. And he said, just, what you said, he's always been a slow starter. He was a good leadoff man last year. At least in listening to Joe's words, they sound like they're going to ride it out and just let him swing out of it. And, you didn't get this guy to sit him on the bench. And it's only 7 games. It's less than 5% of the season. Let him, I kind of agree. You let him swing his way out of it, right? Whether it's in the leadoff hole or whether you drop him to 6th for a night to just change the lay of the land a little bit, maybe give him some RBI opportunities. Either way, I think you let him swing out of it, because the only thing that's going to get him out of it is seeing pitches, taking swings, getting reps. And but it sounds like Joe is content to keep him in that leadoff hole. But it's something we'll keep an eye on. Either way, I don't think he's coming out of the lineup, nor do I think he should. He's one of your main boys, and you ride him until he gets hot. Because when he gets hot, it's going to be fun to watch. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Just like when Harper gets hot, it's like when JT's hot right now. Fun to watch when a guy gets going. At some point, Reese will get hot, and Castellanos already swinging it well. So I think there was such a hype in spring training about this lineup, and such a hype after 2 games when they got 10 extra base hits, but. It'll come together. It'll come together at some point. And on a night when the pitching staff gives up 4 runs, they'll win those games, because they'll score the way we expected them to, and they'll get more than 4 runs, and they'll get a W out of it. But last night did not happen.
Well, 3 more in Miami for the Phils to try to get back in the winning column here. And man, the last 3 seasons, the Phillies are 21-28 against the Marlins, 7 games under 500, and 9 games above 500 against the other 3 teams. So it's not just like a cute little comment anymore about, hey, if only the Phillies could beat the Marlins. It's really like a serious multi-year problem here. And the Marlins are a little bit better, although Sandy Alcantara is by far the best that they have to offer in the rotation. Friday and Saturday won't be easy against Pablo Lopez and Trevor Rogers, but Scherzer and Alcantara 2 days in a row, woof. That is not a good recipe for a offense that came out a little cold to start the season. So that's going to do it for today's Phillies Talk podcast. He's Jim Salisbury. I'm Corey Seidman. Phils and Marlins, Friday night at 6:40 p.m. on NBC Sports Philadelphia. We'll catch you here on the Phillies Talk podcast soon.